I might be in here because I did support it on Kickstarter. Yay! We did it, guys! Now it's time for a credit scroll. Oh no, I'm gonna let all the credits roll. Everybody deserves kudos because this game, they did do a good. I do think it's a fun game, and it is enjoyable to play, as long as you're not like me and trying to get all the things. And you're not stubborn and understand, nope, I'm walking away from this one. Because that's one of the things I had to learn throughout is if I came upon one and I just had to turn around and walk away from it in a very little stance of turning Yooka-Laylee around in the game. Because there are just some bunches and areas and mini games and stuff that were too much, that were just, well, poorly executed. I don't even think poorly executed is a problem. I think a lot of it was more good in theory, not necessarily in practice. And I don't think that's bad to have, because every once in a while you'll have them, but I think they were always often enough when I was nearing the end of each world that it made me be like, no, I'm done. And the fact, I understand having to backtrack, but a lot of the times when the backtracking doesn't work, and after opening up the 5th galaxy or world, the fifth, it was Galleon Galaxy, so the 5th book world, because oh, look at, here are all the backers. Cool. That's fun. I'm half watching to see if I can find myself. Half. The Blender and the Kraken are right next to each other. Yeah, boy. Oh, look at all these guys. That's so great. Aww. All these people were so excited. I kind of feel bad because I got a lot of flack at the beginning, and but the thing is I don't think the flack was unwarranted. My biggest concern with this is, had it not been these specific developers that had also worked on Banjo-Kazooie, this would have, and it was a completely different team, nobody associated with Banjo-Kazooie worked on it and then made this game, it would have been seen as a ripoff of Banjo-Kazooie. Which I'm a little concerned with because, oh yeah, there's going to be a long, because these are alphabetical by first name, and we're only in AA. We're going to be here for a while. And that is something that, had it been any other indie developer with not the history that these developers had, there would have been a lot more backlash and a lot less positive response to it. And I think I like this music though. This is really good music. I understand it's elevator music, but it's really good music. And I understand why though, like, this is acceptable in a sense because it is the same developers that worked on Banjo-Kazooie, but at the same time, you're no longer with Rare. You no longer own the title, and it's great that you made a game that pulled back those elements. But when I first played it, and me not having played Banjo, but having seen a lot of Banjo, and my immediate thought was, this is Banjo-Kazooie, but not. I understand that's exactly what they were going for. And they were pretty... The thing is, though, is that they used the phrase spiritual successor. A Hat in Time also used this for the phrase spiritual successor. And theirs really was like, we were inspired by these games of these series, so we brought in elements from this and art styles and stuff, but they made a completely different game that was their own game. It was very distinctly their own. This team still made their own game, but it was very distinctly, we couldn't make Banjo-Kazooie, so we're gonna do this instead. And that's what bugs me. It just bugs me a little bit, and I want to make sure that that's noted. I still think it's a fun game, and I will go back and play Banjo-Kazooie because I finally found it at I actually found Banjo-Kazooie at Reset Games, but they're owned by another castle. It's a chain in Western Washington that started in Seattle of retro game stores, and it's actually great. Everyone I've gone into, I've had like the greatest service, so kudos to all those people that work there. And everybody's really friendly, and they're always willing to like help me answer my questions that I have, because I have a ton of questions a lot of time when I walk in. I'm like, I'm looking for this. What do I need? That's pretty much all the time. So yeah, I guess that just bugs me a little bit. The next thing is with this, so it's still a fun game, and back to the original thing is there's just always that one that if you were stubborn like me and you got stuck in it too long and didn't walk away soon enough, it frustrated you enough to walk away from that world or area, which isn't great because if you haven't explored it enough, you're not gonna have enough pages to go to the next thing, and it puts a bad feeling on it. And I felt like I ended way too many episodes on a bad feeling because it wasn't quite rage quitting, but it was frustration. You know, maybe I should be done. And every time I tried in on a good note, I'm like, oh, no, let's do more. Because I wanted to play more. And I feel bad for the series because they almost always ended on a bad note. And I should have managed that better. That should have been me managing that better and then going to find something else. But by that point, I was already so far in a lot of times. And so that was poor management on my part. This is going to take a long time. So it's a good thing that I have all these thoughts in this game that I could talk about. And I think a lot of those ones were just good in theory, not in practice, doesn't work well, and there's no, like with the mushroom one, or whichever the one that you had to push the seed, and the third world, the spooky world, like the first two were good and manageable. It's just with all the obstacles in the final one, there was so many obstacles that you needed to have a better way of controlling that ball. And maybe there is. Maybe having the new abilities and stuff is that better way to control the ball and everything. But so much backtracking was required. Like, I don't want to continuously be backtracking throughout. I want to go to, which is what I did, is I went to the end. And then once I knew I needed more, I went backtracking all the way back to the beginning. The fly completely broke backtracking in the beginning because I didn't have to climb that tower at all. I just flew up to the top. But man, yeah, I don't know. That some of those, it just was frustrating because you also don't. It's hard when the first two are doable and the third wasn't. It's hard to tell when you would need it to be like, actually, no, I need to come back for this. And that's not bad. In and of itself, that's not bad. It's just like, I feel like maybe the entire like mini game or sub game or whatever you would call it to get that pagey should be alluded to at the beginning. Hey, you might want to come back to this, or like just a quick little one-off line of that. It would have made sense to me, but you know, I'm not a developer. I don't know anything. I just play all the games. I know nothing. We'll just go with I know nothing. So that was one of the things. The casino world was by far my least favorite. I think it was clever and there's some cool parts to it. I love the Plinka ones. But it was by far my least favorite. I did not want to return to it at all. The fact that I had to return to it to get pages was annoying. I understand why people were getting frustrated with it. I think Josh Jepson was streaming Yooka-Laylee at one point, and I hadn't finished the game. Because I started this game almost immediately after it came out, which is about when he was streaming it. So I didn't really watch any of those because I didn't want the spoilers. but I think he stopped streaming it, and I think it was because of the casino world, because it just kept crashing. It just kept crashing. So I'm hoping that I think I got there way later, because there's a big update that came out when I had been playing it, and like I knew when the update came out because some of the menus and stuff's changed, which was nice. Yeah, because that was about when I didn't have to roll over the world every single time. So that probably helped with that, but that's if you're running the minimum specs for a game and you have to run it on a lower graphic setting because you're only running minimum specs, the game shouldn't crash. I'm guessing he was running above the minimum specs if he was able to stream it, and the game's crashing? Yeah, that's a little frustrating, and that shouldn't be happening on a PC version of the game. Apparently, though, the PlayStation 4 version was the best version, just it worked the best or something like that. I'm not quite sure. I think it's coming to the Switch now, which I think it should come to the Switch, because that team was like the era of games it was from was the N64 era, so it definitely should be coming to a Nintendo console. It was originally going to be the Wii U and then the Switch, and that was a whole thing because, yeah. I got a whole bunch of backer emails. I read them and then proceeded to not need to do anything because I got the PC one, because I'm like, I didn't have a PS4 when I backed it. I hadn't planned. The only reason I was getting a PS4 at some point in the future was because of Persona 5, and I ordered it for the PS4, and I didn't have one because I wanted the special edition. Hello, that bag is super useful. But that's something that's slightly frustrating to a lot of people, because I don't think it was just him. I think a few of the other people that were streaming it at that time were having issues with that world. And that's just frustrating in general, because it's like, hey, this game has worked up till this point, and it should still continue to work after this point. Why is it crashing now? I'm gonna put this down, like, and I kind of get why they just put it down and come back to it, because it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. This is a really long credits. Well, it's a good thing. I'm gonna be talking through most of it. So there is that. Also, if you ever want to see a lot of games like this, or just a really random assortment of games being played and have a good old chill time and chat, or with all the memes, you should watch Josh Jepson's streams. Or not should, but I would recommend that. They're pretty fun to go to. I enjoy them. They're good places to hang out. The next thing, and he does a lot of games kind of from that era and stuff. He's streamed Banjo-Kazooie. That's part of the reason I know so much Banjo-Kazooie is I've watched some of his streams of that one. What's the next thing? So yeah, the casino world, that was the epitome of good in theory, not in practice. And it's not that it didn't work. It's that it was more frustrating than anything, and a lot of times it seems like the simplest things return the most coins, which makes sense if you're like casually playing it, but then so they were returning enough for you to be able to move on to the next world and everything. But then some of the really hard challenges return fewer coins. Well, if I have to backtrack to that world to be able to get coins, pretty much what's left are some of the harder challenges. They should be giving me more or the same at bare minimum that the simple challenges gave. Like, there should have been one output for any challenge, like, no matter what it was. So you could be like, oh yeah, okay, now I'm backtracking, so I have to get this, so at least I get the same as what I was getting before. And there was a couple of those challenges that were more difficult and tedious than the others that returned less of those, whatever honeycombs or I think, what were they called? They're like honeycomb squares or something, to get the pages. Like, that was annoying more than anything. I understand this is a lot of negative stuff, so I'm gonna start with the negative and then I'll talk about the positives and stuff. Maybe Andy protagonist, there's a name. That's funny. So that was frustrating. That was frustrating being like, okay, so the return's not the same when Okay, yeah. So there was that. What else? I really did like Galleon Galaxy. But that's one of the ones that, like, there was so little in the first time compared to when you expanded it. Which it always seems like there's more, but usually when the first time to expand it, you could get enough in that first basic book, the basics of the book world, to get enough pages to expand it. And so I either missed a lot, but it didn't seem like I missed a lot. There was like the one island and the stuff with the ship, and that was it. And I didn't really miss a lot there. Like, there was so much more afterwards, but even then there wasn't enough for me to get anywhere close to the amount of pages I needed, and I had to start backtracking again. I understand I never backtracked to the third world, and that's because I didn't feel like it, and there was so much missing from the casino world that I knew that was going to be the area I had to go to. But that also annoyed me, because I really liked the area, I really liked this music and everything, and I wanted to spend more time there consecutively instead of having to go back to the first and second worlds to get enough pages just to expand it. Like, I had to expand that world because there was no way I was getting anywhere near the amount of pages to go fight the boss. And there's plenty of pages in the first 4 worlds for you to fight the boss. Like, had you gotten every single page in the first 4 worlds, you would have not needed to go to the 5th world to fight the boss. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it was so small in comparison. But I don't think that's right. Okay, where's my controls? Because we might need to fast forward this. Oh, here we go. Okay, maybe a little slower. There we go. Yeah, this is all the backers, so they can go a little faster. What's regular speed? This is regular speed. This is a little faster speed. We'll go this speed, so probably 8 times. Because I do want to show everybody's names, but man, it's gonna take forever. And I'm running out of things to say. Well, I'm running out of the critiques. And the thing is I think I would like to see a Yooka-Laylee 2, but I would like it to diverge from the Banjo-Kazooie format. Not completely, because that's what it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be a spiritual successor, but I would like it to be more a spiritual successor and not a sequel with a different skin. There's a difference between those two because it hadn't time proved it. So, oh look it, we finally made it to these. Yeah, we're gonna leave this. I'm sorry for your eyes, but this, I should have been doing this earlier. I had not realized. I spent like 10 minutes watching just the backers. But like, and I understand that this is technically an indie studio. I'm putting air quotes around that because it's the size of an indie studio. But the developers, as they have very clearly put on their webpage, have spent years in the industry, decades even, and have worked with a lot of big name games that people still play. Oh, this is so much faster. I'm amazed. So, yeah, I already had that discussion in one of the Galleon Galaxy episodes. The boss fight, there should have been a checkpoint midway through, but I don't remember the end of Banjo-Kazooie as much as I remember everything else. Like, I know in Banjo-Kazooie there was a bonus boss fight, which is why I'm seeing the credits through the end. And I don't know if there is in this game, but I can't take it on right now because it's too long of a video already. It's going to take forever to upload. So, do I upload the credits separately or consecutively? I don't know. We're going to have to go faster. If you really want to see if you could find your name, you're going to have to pause it because I need to be done with this at some point because it's going to take me forever to upload. So I'd like to get it going sooner because it took me forever to just get today's video up. And today being Saturdays. I didn't go up till like 10:30. That's how long it took. So we're going to go super fast. If you would like me to put the actual credits up, play the game. I really shouldn't say that. I'm not sponsored by that or by them because I don't think they would sponsor me with all the things I've had to say about the game. But I don't think it's a bad game. Ooh, you just skipped there a little bit, game. And by game, yeah, it was a game. It was the scrolling through it, maybe too fast. I don't think it's a bad game. And they gave us exactly what they wanted, but my phrase, when I hear the phrase spiritual successor, having been used before by the A Hat in Time Kickstarter, which came first, and based on what I was seeing with A Hat in Time, and what I saw in the toy box, even the toy box of this game didn't remind me as so much of Banjo-Kazooie. And I played the toy box. There are videos of me playing the toy box. Like, I recorded that for you because I played the toy box almost as soon as it was released. The toy box didn't remind me of Banjo-Kazooie as much as playing the beginning world for the first time. And I don't know why that is. Because in actually the toy box, you had all your moves, like you had a good of the basic moves that were the Banjo-Kazooie moves, and maybe it did remind me of it, and I'm just not remembering right. But I mean, it did. It was the same thing, but it felt more like it was trying to be different than the game was. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too hard on that part. But oh, we're in the D's. Okay, we're good. Doctor. Drew. Okay, we're going. Oh, I can't stare at that. I am so sorry, but this is gonna be there. It's gonna move. They're zooming into space again. Okay. So we're just gonna let him go like this for a while. And yeah, I don't know. That boss fight, I don't remember the final boss fight in Banjo-Kazooie because I haven't played it and it's been a while since I've actually watched a Banjo stream. So some of these critiques, if I am wrong about what I'm comparing it to Banjo, but let me know. The next thing is, so the boss fight, I like the second half better than the first half infinitely. I didn't mind the first part of the first half, but the second part with the ice things was really frustrating because that was already a control that I was annoyed with throughout the game because it's too finicky for how you're aiming. It should be he shoots in the direction that the camera is facing. So like if the camera is facing one direction, it's always being shot in that direction, not the direction that the characters are facing. I think that's where my problem was, is that the items should shoot in the direction the camera is facing and not the characters, because it would have just created more consistency. Because I can move the camera, but he could still shoot in the same direction in that. But if I moved him, which is more likely to happen because I'm constantly having your finger on that thumbstick trying to control him, it would adjust so much. So it made it finicky. I think having switched that to camera controls rather than like character movement controls would have balanced that out a little better. I think, I don't know if it was play tested like that and it didn't work and that's why they switched it. But from what I kept trying to do, I was trying to control it from the camera and not from the characters, and it never worked because it's through the characters. What else with this one? There was something, yeah, so I think that was just a control thing that I had issues with throughout the game, and I actually think that would have been better to move it to the camera controls and not the character controls. Oh, the other controls that I was annoyed with, and it's a good thing they only came in at the end of the game, the flying controls. It would try and auto adjust your camera for you, but a lot of times I didn't want it to, so it's sitting there trying to auto adjust as I'm trying to adjust the camera manually, and it was never in the right direction. So that final boss fight, it forced the camera in the final boss fight with allowing a little movement, but it always reset to the same position. So that was actually the best flying controls of the entire game, was the camera controls for that final part of that final boss fight. Because when it auto reset to the same direction every single time. So even if I did have to adjust it a little bit for a part, it always auto reset the same way. And it was a small enough screen that you needed, how it reset made sense. the rest of the game, like trying to fly across, if I wanted to take the camera to move it just a little bit, there's a whole thing, and I put my mic a little bit, so my apologies. But yeah, that was a thing. Oh my gosh, this is so annoying to try and watch. Can I go faster? Yeah, we're just gonna go faster. Sorry if you wanted to see your name. I can't. It's gotta go. It's gotta go really fast. Can I go faster? I can go even faster. How fast can we get this going? We're in the case. I don't think any faster, so we're gonna do this. This way. I think that's all my negatives and critiques at this point. But I think a lot of them because the thing is in between me playing Yooka-Laylee for this series, I haven't finished A Hat in Time, but I went and played A Hat in Time, and now A Hat in Time had some weird controller binds that made sense as you played the game. So like it took a little getting used to what like controls were bound to what, but as I played the game, I'm like, oh, this feels natural for the game. Some of the ones for Yooka-Laylee were kind of confusing. A Hat in Time, though, is a much smaller game. But it was well executed. It was a small game that had a couple things that they did remove, and I understand like people's complaints of why did you remove the swimming and thing from the beta, and I understand those complaints, but as a final product, it was well executed and it made sense. Like all the physics of the game and the logic of the game worked completely throughout the entire thing. Oh, it's going so much faster now. Why didn't I do this a while ago? I'm gonna be in here soon once we get to the S's, but you're not gonna know it because it's gonna go too fast. I'll watch this later to see my name. Bink, maybe. I'm not gonna slow it down now because of that. And I think I prefer A Hat in Time over Yooka-Laylee, but they are both fun to play. Yooka-Laylee has to have the addendum, though, of be careful with your own personality and playstyle, because if you hit a point where you're starting to get frustrated, walk away immediately. As soon as you hit a point of, I want to be stubborn and get this right, start walking away. Or evaluate that challenge again and see whether it's actually doable or want to walk away. It's like the boss fight in the casino level. I had to just be like, no, I can't do this. I know I can do this, but it's going to take me longer to try and do this than it is to go and do something else. And because I'm doing a series of it, I have to do that. But it also just generally helped my enjoyment of the game because I'm like, oh, look, this is a fun thing. Why wasn't I playing this instead? And you can't say, and some people would find different challenges fun and everything, or easier to do than others and everything, so you can't put a warning on it, but like, oh, I had one more issue. Backtracking, we're gonna slow this, no, we're at the end there, this is okay. Backtracking, oh, thanks for playing, you're welcome. Backtracking in the game, I wonder what happens if I go back into my file. 24 hours and 39 minutes, guys. Nobody's there. We'll select. Let's go see what happens. Backtracking in the game was annoying because it wanted you to frequently be backtracking to the levels. And I don't like that. There's a reason I haven't done much in Donkey Kong 64. So am I just here now? Probably. Let's go back to the first area. Let's just roll on out all the way back to the first area. I'm lost though, let me tell you that much. Is this where I go? No. Where do I go? This way? Nope, that's something else. Oh, that's nuclear waste, that's good. I probably should go back to the boss fight, but I really don't want to deal with that yet. I could roll for so long. But what was I talking about? A lot of stuff. There we go. Which is the way to go? But yeah, backtracking in this game was tedious more than anything. I don't think it's this way. I think it's this way. I think I'm lost is what it is. already got that pagey. Maybe it is this way. Because it's not up. But backtracking was annoying because it was too much like DK64, where you had to consistently be backtracking to get everything, and I don't like that. I don't think that was well done. I also just generally don't like that type of thing. But you know me. Sometimes it exists in games. And I will go back and play DK64. But that was one... Okay, I was mid-jump because I had to jump over the ledge. So, and I was in the roll form, which normally just knocks them away. So once again... No, which is the button? Nope, 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 not that. This one. There we go. And I think that was the thing, is I don't want to have to constantly be backtracking just to finish a world. So, and I don't know how it was in Banjo-Kazooie because I've not played the full game, and I bet you there is some backtracking, because even in Super Mario 64 there's some backtracking. But I think it's more backtracking in Mario 64 style, where for the most part you can get through a world with what you have available to you at that time. And it wasn't in this game. Like, you had to constantly be getting the moves from the later worlds just to be able to complete the first world. And that's frustrating a little bit. More than anything. It's just because I don't want to be doing that a lot of times. A lot of times, if I do want to backtrack, I just want to backtrack all at once. Or, like, not have to constantly be doing that for all the worlds. And I get that it's to increase playability and stuff like that, so... and just to expand the time spent in the game. But if you're trying to get pages and move forward in a more consecutive manner... I get the whole pages to unlock book world expansions and everything, so you don't necessarily need to expand the world, but you probably will at some point. So then at least you should have enough pages in the first half of the world to unlock the second half of the world. And that was part of my problem with the Galleon Galaxy thing again, is it didn't seem like there was even enough to do that, but I could have missed a lot. So that was another thing I found tedious, was the backtracking. The thing is, this game is really fun to play. I do really enjoy it, and the times, and I think some of the transformations were really clever and fun. Like, the helicopter one was pretty fun. And that was the casino world. Like, and the ship one, I really liked being a ship, and the little bunch of fishies. Like, I liked a lot of the transformations. I think that was a cool element that I don't think got used enough. Like, because and I get that the game's called Yooka-Laylee, but that was a really cool element, and you just didn't spend a lot of time as that, and I like that a lot. And I understand that I don't think it was like that in Banjo-Kazooie. I don't think so much time was that. Look, let's have fun at our... We're gonna explore here a little more. Because now that I have good graphics to see this world gorgeously. There's something about ground pounding a rock over here or something. For this special super secret thingy-majiggy, but I don't remember what it is, so. What is this? Paint. Oh, we could go in here. Oh, that's fun. This is cool. When did this appear? Look at how cute that is. Oh my gosh, this is adorable. Okay, camera though. That's a little weird. I just disappeared into a bush. Where'd they go? You can't see me. You can't see me. But yeah, so I had some, like, you actually literally, I'm in this bush. That's it. This is where I live now. No, I don't. And I think that's one of the things is that... Oh, this is another paint can. Ah, this is where they were chilling out at. Yeah. Does Yooka have a Laylee towel and Laylee have a Yooka towel? Oh my god, that's adorable. Oh, look at their little sunglasses. Oh my gosh, I haven't explored this world in like forever. We're gonna go exploring it now. It's fun. Oh, me and my bad just my bads of the controls here. Listen, it even tells you a path and I'm just bad. Oh, look at the little tulips. There's a pagey up here. I'm gonna go get it. Man, I wish I'd known that earlier because I would have just come back here for the final one. Look at that! 27. I got an extra pagey, guys. Look, I did something this level. I got a boss fight and a pagey. But I enjoy playing this game, and I feel like stuff like this where I can just run around and explore and have fun is really cool, and I like it a lot. And I think there should have been more of it. I think this game could have had some really I think it did have some really fun aspects. Like it does have, and it's fun to play, but I think what happened a lot is it became tedious to play, and that's when you don't want to do it unless if you are specifically trying to 100% the game and get everything in the game. It shouldn't feel tedious to play at points just to get enough pages to unlock the next world or expand the world to get enough pages. Batshit crazy. That is great. Look at Laylee. You know, I'm guessing this. Oh, this is cool. Can I go in the door? Hello, I would like to go in the door, please. Apparently I can't go into the captain's quarters. That's fun. Look at the paint even shines. Look at how nice that looks. Look at that. You can see the paint, like the green and blue specifically shine against the background a little more. Like, that's a really cool little touch. But I don't think it gets appreciated, and stuff like that gets appreciated now. Like, the game doesn't show off some of the things that went into the design of the levels and the worlds and things. Like, because you don't get to explore. I think that's the thing, is this game is supposed to be open world exploration, do what you want, and have fun playing it. And when I did that, I enjoyed playing it a lot. But because to progress the game, you have to get so many, it became, I need to do this, this, and this to get enough pages to get to the next world. Part of it is me and how I set up the series, and that the fact that I was playing it as a series and not just playing it as a game for fun. But at the same point, I mean, this is how I play games. Like, I play games and I'm like, I want to explore and do all the things, but I would get, there was so much to do, and then I would get frustrated at a little thing that I'd leave it behind anyways and want to leave the world, that having those ones that just did not seem to execute right kind of forced you out of that world and out of that exploration mode. And I think that's the thing, is the game is so focused on collecting pages that it forgets that it's supposed to be an open world, like exploration, to get those pages. And it could just be my perception of that, but had this game not been focused on the collectibles, not been focused on you should get all the quills to get a pagey, you should just been like, if it had taken out the quills, bear with me here. Okay, so this is at the end of the... Uh-oh. Do I get another pagey if I do this? Oops. I do. Oh my gosh. 2 pages this episode. It's a long one. I'm gonna have to split this up. I'm gonna have to split this up into... This is gonna go out on 2 days, because I'm gonna have to do final boss fight and then final thoughts. Because I'm sitting here wandering and I'm still talking about it. And I think that's the thing, is had it taken out the quills and that specific collectible aspect. So like you could still have the thing where it's like, ah, I get it, it's for Laylee because he's a bat and upside down. Yeah, okay, cool, I got that. So taking out the quills as a forced 100 collectibles. Left the ghosties in, I don't mind that. But focused less on having enough challenges there to get the pages. So like okay, maybe not taking out the quills, but had the pagey requirements been a little lower for the end of the game, because having to backtrack was a little thing, and not showing the totals until you beat the game, I think it would have put the focus back onto the exploration aspect of it. And I think and I get having the totals and stuff, so because it is handy to know once you beat or putting the totals in after you like had a boss in each world. So like there was a boss dude in each world, and if you beat the boss, which is kind of what they had, but if you beat that, then you unlock the totals page for that world. Because it is supposed to be an open world and exploration, but there's no guidingness to not just leave and do something else instead. Like there's no core other than to get enough pages to beat the boss. And that's great, but at the same time, this game also didn't focus enough on the exploration aspect to get those pages to beat the boss. All this right here is maybe just how I approach the game. So there is that big old asterisk, what I'm saying here. But like in the toy box, it was very clear, here's 100 quills, there's 100 quills here, collect them all, you get a pagey. So it gave you a specific purpose. And I enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed the toy box. And because it's, and it got to explore with all the things, and you got to see, and it forced you to explore to get those quills. Because this world, each world was so big, and it was meant to explore to get all this stuff to progress to the next world, but it wasn't focused. I don't know, it just didn't feel like it was meant to be focused on exploration, but it didn't feel like the focus was there to put you on the exploration side. Like, there was no, you need to at least do this and this to progress to the next world. And maybe that's because now I'm thinking of Mario Odyssey, because Mario Odyssey is kind of like this, where there's just so many things to do in each world. And I really enjoyed Mario Odyssey. I had the same fun feeling, and I said this in the Mario Odyssey video, or the Hat in Time, or one of the videos, of playing that as I did a Hat in Time, where I just really enjoyed running around, exploring the worlds, getting enough stuff, and then moving on to the next thing. And both of those games had a very distinct, clear path. Not only as a overall, I need to get to Bowser, or I need to get my time pieces back, which I haven't finished a Hat in Time, to get my ship. Each world itself had a storyline, and you could completely ignore the storyline, but to move on to the next world, at some point you had to go to the storyline, and you need to collect a certain amount. And I think that's what this game lacks. And it might just be that that's the style of Banjo-Kazooie, it's just enough to get to the next thing. And I think that's maybe my biggest problem with this game, and this could be just the general style of this game and Banjo-Kazooie and those kind of things. And I think DK64 too, is that I haven't played enough of DK64 to actually accurately say that, is that it lacks a driving force in the individual worlds. Because, like, a Hat in Time and Super Mario Odyssey, I still felt the need to explore the world and do as much as I can before leaving the world, because that's who I am. But I had a purpose to get through the world. And I think that's what this lacks, is a general world purpose. And that could just be the style of game. And that could just be me. Okay, so that part of that style isn't thing. But this game would have been a great exploration game if that had been a little bit more, like, I guess maybe the focus in the marketing. Instead of, because a spiritual successor is a great name for people to Banjo-Kazooie, is a great name for people who have, why are these bushes solid and the ones along the walls not? For people who had played Banjo-Kazooie. I'm hiding here. But I never played Banjo-Kazooie, because, so, like, okay, describe what that means. Does that mean exploration? I know it's a collectathon. Cool. What does collectathon mean? Because Super Mario Odyssey is a collectathon. I'm not going to say that about a Hat in Time. I think at one point it was going to be, but I think they removed certain features of that by the final game, and I greatly appreciate it, because I think it could have been. But like that's the thing, because Super Mario Odyssey is a collectathon. It's like, hey, you need to get a bunch of moons and get that. And so like that's the thing is, and I shouldn't be comparing it to Super Mario Odyssey because, you know, different teams, different resources with the thing, but I am comparing it to Hat in Time. Once again, different teams and different resources. But so if you're going to give me a collectathon, still give me a little bit of purpose in each world. Like, have a quill limit to, like, be able to leave the first time. Like, you have to collect this many quills to return initially. Like, once you go in, are you sure you want to enter? Because you need this many to leave. That might have been frustrating, though, so I kind of get why that's not there. But there are, I think, aspects that could have been added to make it and give it more... Why does that ledge seem suspicious? I don't know. It's probably not. Thanks. Overall, I would say if you have a chance to play it, it's fun, but don't get too caught up in trying to do everything like I did. Because then it won't be fun. And I think in general, it's well executed. And I think there should be a sequel. In general, it is executed to a no, it is well executed. Everything works. The characters move as it was. I think some of the game logic is broken a little bit and at certain points for certain abilities and just at specific points. But I think overall, it is a fun game. It is meant exactly what they say. It is a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. I just wish they weren't so literal on the successor and almost to the point of sequel. I wish that was a little less literal. And it's fun to play, and it's enjoyable. And I really think that there should be a sequel. But for the sequel, please give me all the moves at the beginning because, you know, I don't want to have to unlock the same things over and over again each time. And don't make the sequel so much focused on backtracking to get enough stuff to continue forward. Because that's not fun. That's DK64, and people like DK64, but at the same point, it's not fun. I think aspects of this game were actually more of a sequel to the spiritual successor to DK64 than they were Banjo-Kazooie, but yet again, I've played very little of both of those games. Oh, here we go. I understand how to get into the back of this. Oh no, this still isn't the captain's cabins. I would like to be in the captain's cabins, please. Bad ship crazy. You got away with that one. But that's the thing is, I think... Wait, can I fish? Wait here. Can I interact? No? Okay, I can't interact. Oh, that's sad. Oop. I want to just enter the captain's cabins, please. I don't actually think there's enough room for that. Oh, is there writing on the side? Bats are cool. Yooka. Okay. Sorry, that's fun. Like, and little details like that with everything being such a purpose is, I don't know. Maybe it's how I approach. I think a lot of it is how I approach the game. But I think that because this is it, because the game didn't have enough focus on each world and like a thing to force you through each world, you didn't spend much time exploring it because then your only goal was to get to the next world. And that's where you rush through it and not spend time exploring it. That's why. That's why you have to have at least a little bit of story in each world for you to not rush through it just to get to the next world. Sorry. I figured out why that's necessary in games. There. But it's fun. It's a fun game. It's playable. It's frustrating a little bit at the beginning because you want more moves than you have, but I'm so glad to get the roll in the beginning because if there was no roll, I would have been very sad. But that's it. And I think as the levels went on, I really liked the designs of the levels, skipping the casino level. I think the casino level was a really cool idea. Like, super cool idea. But I just, you know, maybe didn't like certain aspects, how it played out. But I really did think it was a cool idea, and I loved Galleon Galaxy. I love the theme, I love the music. It's just the issue there was the whole expansion thingy. But that's the thing, is like, I really enjoyed the worlds. It's just that there was a major thing in each world that kind of put me off from it. Or there's just one challenge or minigame that put me off from it. And I don't think that's the game's fault. I think that's a me fault. But, oh well. That's the thing. I'm gonna have to end it here because my final recommendation, if you have a chance to play Yooka-Laylee, I suggest it. Be prepared for some funky controls at some points. And be prepared to maybe walk away from a minigame to come back to. Because had I done that more often, I would have enjoyed it immensely more. And had I probably played Banjo-Kazooie before, and at least not had the nostalgia attached to Banjo-Kazooie, I probably would have enjoyed it immensely more too. Because I would have known a little better of what I was getting into. But I did enjoy this game. I would recommend playing it at some point. I would almost say try the PlayStation 4 version, because I've heard, initially I've heard that that's probably the best version. The Switch version might be pretty good too, because they were having to develop it for the Wii U, but I don't think they rushed it to try and get the Switch version out. So the Switch version would be good. And then, yeah. Like, it looks pretty. And there's so many cool little touches. I just didn't feel the need to explore as I would have liked to. But it's still fun. I would still recommend it. I did really like the second half of the boss fight immensely better than the first half of the boss fight, and I'm not like why the torpedoes don't explode against each other. I understand now. Don't worry. I'm sorry, game. I complained about that one. But IB Sarah Shell. I've been playing Yooka-Laylee. I'm gonna make sure there's no bonus boss fight or anything that I have to do. Just to be sure. And thank you for watching, peeps.